Now, South Africa's onshoring plan seeks to bring clothing manufacturers back home as the industry grapples with years of challenges stemming from a cut price competition from Chinese imports. Joining us now to uncover the clothing revival strategy that has been gaining momentum in the Western Cape is Shirley de Villiers. She's features and covers editor for the Financial Mail. Shirley, an absolute pleasure. Good afternoon to you.
And afternoon to you.
Well, Shirley, we had years of China. In fact, if all of us could just look at the tags behind the bright red thread was like from China, from Taiwan, never from South Africa. We are seeing a shift here. Talk to us about that.
Yes, so basically what's happened is we're looking in the Western Cape specifically. And after years of industrialization, there's now a plan in place to try and bring more local production on stream and basically get takeoff with local retailers. So the plan is basically, it's built on a TFG strategy around quick supplying of fashion. So how to turn around, it used to take TFG, or it used to take production somewhere along the lines of a week and a half to take a garment down a 25-person production chain. Now you're looking at 4 hours. And so you can see that obviously for retailers this makes an incredible amount of sense, provided the price point is correct, provided the quality is correct, because it's got numerous benefits for them specifically.
When I was reading the article this morning in the Financial Mail, I think one of the analysts you spoke to said that we are reaching a point of inflection here. Also, with the capacity building, we need to build more capacity, or the industry might not be able, Shirley, to really see itself through the long term.
Yes, so basically, we've sat with deindustrialization in the industry for years. As you said, floods of cheap Chinese imports. What we've seen is that employment in the sector went from 150,000 in the 80s down to about 56,000 by 2011. Today, if you look at formal and informal workers, we're sitting at about 42,000. So there's an obvious need for something to give. And this is a group of players within the Western Cape sector, driven by the Cape Clothing and Textiles Cluster, which is a group of 25 industry bodies or 25 retailers and manufacturers, and driven by TFG's supply chain MD, Graham Choice. And so he's bringing the knowledge that TFG had in their process to make this a Western Cape thing.
It is very fascinating. I think it was a few years ago when TFG came forward and told the markets that they would be going on this localization strategy. Many of us didn't think it would actually be viable, but we can see in the results that it is actually viable. But let's talk about the role they've played here, Shirley, and also the partnership with that Western Cape government, because I think together, this reindustrialization that we're seeing in the Western Cape has been possible.
Well, I think what we need to be clear about is that this is a plan at this point. It needs buy-in from various players. And one of those, obviously, I think if you're talking government, we need to look at local government in specific. They're looking at setting up factories. The plan is to set up a range of factories in towns around Cape Town within 2 hours drives, and you can get quick movement between those factories and the ports, the design houses, and the retailers themselves. There's a concentration in Cape Town. So that's the base of the plan. So basically, local government becomes important because they need to provide stability of electricity, they need to provide stability of water, they need to ensure that there's roads, there needs to be something to try and stop the protection rackets from getting involved in the whole shebang. So you need to have local municipality. Obviously, you want buy-in from the provincial government, you want political buy-in and support. And in the Western Cape's a good place for this. Obviously, it's a great investment destination. It's the best run province in the country. And so this is a good place to get it all on the go.
I want to speak about some of this plan because some of it is really, I think, cutting edge and really might speak to an opportunity for South Africa's economy to be more productive here. Let's appeal its part here, Shirley. Starting off also with the 12 hours alternating shift and, making sure the factory is operational 24/7.
Yes, so that's the plan, is that you have two workforces essentially working 12-hour shifts each, working 7 days a week. So 4 days on, 4 days off, much the way that it would work with nurses. The issue with this obviously is that it needs to get approval from the unions. So you need SACTU to buy into it. Because obviously you have issues around Saturdays and Sundays become regular work days instead of days where you earn double. You need to arrange some way of having daycare for children over the weekends when their parents are working. You need to have safe transport at night. But the idea behind it is essentially that you're going to sweat your assets, that your productive machinery is going to run all day, and that helps you to get your product to market that much faster.
Brilliant. Another interesting aspect here is competitive rentals. And you know, the Western Cape, actually, that's where, things are a little bit tricky here with those high rentals, both in residential property, but even in the commercial space.
Yeah, it's an irony in this whole thing that you find that factory spaces become really expensive, and that's not because that space is being used for factories themselves, but because importers are using it for distribution warehouses. So they need to find a plan to find a way to make it cheaper for them to produce in factories. They need to look whether, for example, whether they can get development finance institutions involved to buy factories and then long lease them to the manufacturers themselves.
And one that we are all waiting for here is electricity and water. That's an important part, and that actually has been a big part of why South Africa has seen this trend of deindustrialization, Shirley. But we know that in the Western Cape, they've kind of configured things in a very specific way.
So the towns they're looking at are towns like Atlantis on the west coast, Paarl, Wellington, potentially Hermanus, some towns in the Boerland. And those towns all have relatively well-run municipalities. So it takes down some of the concerns around electricity provision, around water provision, and makes for a more stable situation.
Well, it is exciting. I think it's just exciting to speak about reindustrialization in South Africa, Shirley. And of course, people can catch that article out in the Financial Mail today.
That's right.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for your time. That was Shirley de Villiers. She's features and cover editor for the Financial Mail.